We are so happy to be here together. I'm so excited to have Lorianne on the this episode to talk a little bit more about her son Owen. He passed away last year in 2020. If you haven't had a chance to listen to her birth story, please go back and listen to it because it was so powerful and so touching, and it will make you cry. I'm just that's all
Just
there
a
is.
heads up.
Just a heads up, it will make you cry. So, but Lorianne, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us a little bit about grief and what it's looked like for you in the last year. So, thank you. Welcome again.
Thank you.
As a little bit of context, your son Owen, when was he born, and about how long ago was it when everything went down?
He was born March 10th of 2020. His due date was June 14th, but he was born at 26
At
weeks.
26 weeks. Yeah. So obviously when he was born at 26 weeks, there was a lot of issues because your water had broken at 21 weeks. And so
Yes.
he just didn't have a lot of time to develop and was struggling to
Yeah.
kind of thrive on his own, right? I guess is a
Yeah,
good way to put it.
the doctors actually say that the most important stage of a fetus's time to grow their lungs is between 21 weeks and 24 weeks. So when my water broke at 21 weeks and he made it to 26 weeks, but during he missed that most important part of when the lungs develop.
Yeah.
So they just couldn't develop enough. So, and that's ultimately why he passed away.
Yeah. That it was just so hard to listen to his story. But I'm really grateful for that. So this last year, it's been just a little bit over a year, and you just barely celebrated his first birthday. What does that grieving process like for you? Everybody talks about it being a journey, but I'm sure it's looked really differently for you than other people. How has that been?
I think COVID has made it a little bit more difficult in a sense. The night that Owen passed away, I was in a fog, but I had apparently found a therapist online that night, like when he passed away. I
Oh,
guess
you did.
I reached out to somebody that night knowing that I knew that I would need help and to talk to somebody. And that person had gotten back to me, but it took me a month to get back to her, and I finally reached out to her. So, even having a therapist, as much as I love my therapist and she's been amazing, with COVID, it's not in person. It's
Mm,
either over the phone or even over like a Zoom phone call,
mhm.
which I think that's been fine. Like we've been doing a lot of work and she's been extremely helpful. I do wish there was some sort of groups because I know before COVID, you could have like group therapy sessions with people
Yeah.
and you would all meet and then get together and have that support system. I feel like didn't get to have that, but I did find like different Facebook groups where women have lost their children, and I've actually made a couple of friends on there that I talk to pretty much on a regular basis now, and that has been really helpful in the healing process just because it's helpful, to talk to somebody who has gone through like what you're going through.
Yeah.
And it's a very hard thing to understand, and it's something that I would never want anybody to have to understand this type of grief, but it is definitely very specific type of grieving, I feel like.
I totally agree with you because we also have a great therapist and
Mhm.
she has helped us work through a lot of things. But you are completely right. My little group of women that I have met that have gone through the exact same thing and we meet kind of regularly. It's huge to be able to say, oh, you know what it's like to have lost something so big in your life.
Yes.
So,
Yes, and then to understand all the emotions that come with it. I feel like one of the things that I have learned in this year is that you need to feel every emotion. If you're angry, like it's okay to be angry. Or if you're sad, it's okay to be sad. That's been a little tough for me, like, in the beginning, because I feel like I'm one of those types of people that, like, when something happens, I, like, go through it and I handle it, and then it's like, "Okay, move on."
Mm,
Obviously, like, this is not something that you can just, kinda work through, handle, and then move on. Like, this has been it's pretty much, I feel like, learning how to live your life with this emptiness or
mm.
this pain almost every day. And I mean, I feel like my husband has been like my biggest supporter, and I think our communication has been key through all of this and learning the different grieving stages because people definitely grieve differently
So
and at
differently.
different times.
Mhm.
And my husband and I have always been on different parts of our grieving, but like my therapist has helped us understand like how everybody grieves differently and what it looks like for me to grieve and then what it looks like for him to grieve. It's learning how for each of us to learn to communicate with each other where we're at. And we do that we literally check in every night
Oh,
together.
what does that look like? Is it a "How are you doing today" kind of a thing, or
Yeah, some days it's like it looks different like on different days. Sometimes when I'm like feeling really sad, I can't talk. I shut down a little bit,
Mhm.
and I think it's just because like I need to process. And Matt's had to learn like, okay, that's how she does it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that I'm, like, trying to, like, shut him out or not telling him things because I just don't wanna tell him, like, I just need to process things before I can spill it out.
Yeah.
So, it's like we've had to learn that, and that it's okay. Like, if I can't tell you right this second what's wrong, it's okay. Like
Just give me a minute and I'll get
yes,
there,
give
right?
me a minute and then we can come together and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Well,
um,
how does Matt usually process things that you've noticed?
he, I feel like, has a little bit of a tougher time processing things. He had a rough childhood growing up, and he has a lot of like PTSD from issues from his past. So it's very hard, I think, sometimes for him to like talk about and to even acknowledge like a feeling.
Mm.
He's working on that, and we're figuring out like when I do this, it doesn't mean I'm angry. Like it might just mean I'm sad. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
because I think for a while, like Matt is the type that like wants to take care of me
Mhm.
and wants to always make me like feel better or like he wants to do something to help me. And what we've come to realize in this is that there's not always going to be something you can say or do that's going to fix how someone is feeling. I can remember one night where I think it really hit us. Like he was sad. Well, actually, yeah, it was the day before Owen's birthday. He was sad. I was sad. Normally, not that we would like argue, but one of us would be like rushing around, like trying to like help the other person feel better. But instead, we're learning to almost be in those moments together. And that night, we were both sad. We were both like, this stinks. It's nothing we can say to each other is going to fix anything at this moment. And we were able to just cry together and be in that moment. And I felt that to me, like, I felt such a strong connection with him just because we were okay with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't looking to fix the other person. It was like, this stinks. We're in this together. Nothing we can say can fix this. Let's just be here with each other in this moment and then, like, we move forward. I really feel like it's taken us, like, this year to be able
Mhm.
to do that. Because, I mean, you don't want your significant other to be in pain or to feel sad, or you don't want that, and, you always have, like, that urge to just, like, fix it for them, and for us to know, like, "Alright, there's really nothing we can say or do right now," and it was just a very strong moment for us, I feel like, where it was like, "Okay, we're crying together, we're, holding each other, we're doing what we need to do," and it meant a lot, I feel like, to both of us that we reached that point where we felt okay with that.
Yeah, that's that I feel like that's a huge step in a relationship too, just realizing that you can be together in your feelings, whatever those feelings may be,
Yeah,
especially in this crazy process. So
yeah,
that's really like a lot of maturity right there in the sense of a relationship in a relationship. So
yeah,
that's pretty cool that you guys
yeah.
got to that
It's
point or are at
yeah.
that point, right?
Not saying it'll be like that every
Oh,
time,
right, of
but
course, of course, yeah, you just are like, "We're hoping things get better," but you can't ever see.
but in that moment,
It was good.
yeah.
We were talking a little bit, earlier, and I do want to kind of explore this a little bit more. What kind of things do you have or have done to kind of remember Owen? And I know that you mentioned that you got a tattoo, your birth story, and then, also, there's something right behind you that I want you to talk a little bit more about. Can you tell us all the things that you've done to help you remember him on a daily basis? Because I think you're right, Lorianne, is that I don't think people realize that there are some things that you can do, things to remember your child by. So can you show us all of those?
Yeah, definitely. The first thing I did was get a tattoo, which I know a lot of people do. I don't even know if we can like see it, but
Yeah, you can kind of see it.
yeah, like I have like the mom and the son, and it says always on my mind, forever in my heart. And then it's got his hand and footprint.
Oh, just right
And
there.
then
Okay.
yep, and then it has like his date, and then it says
Owen.
Owen right here. So, like, that's, like, always here, because then, like, I have my dog's like, footprints, and then, like, I love turtles, so it's got turtles,
So
so,
it's an
like,
entire
this is
sleeve.
yep, the whole sleeve is done there. And then another thing that I always have is, like, my necklace that has his ashes in it. I wear this all day, every day, besides when I take a shower,
Mhm.
but this is always I always feel comfort knowing that, like, he's with me in this sense.
And Lorianne, is that one where you can put some ashes into it and it kind of there's like a lid or and it screws down, or is it one that was
Yeah.
kind of encased into it?
No, this is, like, one where it's, like, you can kinda see, like, there's, like, a tube,
Oh, okay. Yes.
and that's, like, where his ashes are.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then it, like I mean, you have to, like, super glue it
Just so it cinches
on.
on and stays
Yeah,
on.
so it
Okay.
stays on. So I have that, and then I had his hand and his footprint, and, I mean, he was 2 pounds, so, like, he was very tiny, and I had the idea of wanting, like, a necklace, like, of his actual size, like, hand and footprint. So I took, like, his hand and his footprint to a jeweler, and they actually were able to, um, cut out, like, this is his
Look
actual,
at that.
like, size and outline of his, like,
They're
hand,
so
and
tiny.
then I know. And then, like, the same thing, like, with the footprint
Uh-huh.
is, this was his exact size. It has, like, all the details of it, of his foot, and these are something else that I kinda wear, like, every day too, and I find it just really special that this is his size,
Yeah.
like this is his exact size of hand and footprint. And because I did get a necklace once of that they like printed like his hand and his footprint on it, but I was like, I don't know, like I want like the actual
Yeah,
size,
I was gonna
and
say they were
I
probably
know
really
I've
small, right? In the other on the other necklace.
yeah, it was just like, like those tiny little, and they just put it on the little necklace, which is fine because like that's okay. But I just find this, to me, it's special because it's his exact everything.
Yeah.
And it's just another way of me honoring him and of keeping him with me every day. And then I have my Molly bear, which they made this awesome bear where they put Owen David on,
That's so cute.
which is so cute. And it weighs 2 pounds, which is like how much he weighed. And we actually, for a while, I struggled with the idea, but I thought people would judge us, like, if I took this bear places, like, with me or did things with it, and for a long time, I was like, "I can't do that. I can't take that with us," like,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, "Screw it." Like,
Yeah.
this is helping me heal. This is, like, one of my ways that I wanna remember and honor and keep my son alive in memory. And if my husband and I go on hikes, we put the bear in the backpack, and then, like, if we're at, like, a special spot, then, like, we'll take it out and we'll, like, take some pictures with it, with the bear. On his birthday, we actually went to New York City, and we went to a whole bunch of different places, and we got, like, pictures of, like, the bear with
It all over the
and
place, right?
different yeah, and, like, in all different locations and on holidays too, actually, because I thought my family was gonna think I was crazy, and I brought because I had texted my parents before a holiday, and I said, I'm bringing the bear. I don't care if any of you think I'm crazy. It's helping me keep his memory alive, and he's just always with us. And when I went to my parents' house, my mom actually took out this little rocking chair, like it was like this little one,
Mhm.
and it was like apparently like her great grandma's chair, like doll chair or something from years and years ago, but she had went and pulled it out and said, "I think this would be perfect for Owen's bear. We can just like, put it, where everybody else is, and then, the bear can sit there and then he's still with us during the holidays." And I was like,
Thanks,
"Yes,
mom.
like, yes, that's perfect." Like,
That is
I was like,
awesome.
"You don't think I'm crazy?"
Well, I also think that there's something to be said that you kind of gave him a like, "I'm doing this." You kinda gave him a heads up, "I'm doing
Yeah,
this."
like, I'm doing
Yeah,
this.
and so whether you approve or disapprove and the fact that they
It's
embraced it,
happening.
yeah, like, the fact that they embraced it is huge, like,
Yeah.
and they were able to incorporate that into how you guys were celebrating the holiday, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
Kudos to your
'cause,
mom.
even Matt was, like, a little, about it. Because he's like, "We're gonna bring a bear everywhere with us?" And then, like, the one hike, I was like, "Okay, take a picture of, like, me and the bear." And he was like, okay." And, like, but then, like, by the next hike, literally, he has, like, the bear on his back, like, he's walking through the woods and people are, like, walking by, and he finally understood, like, what it meant to me, and that it's just us honoring him and keeping, like, his memory alive. And for his first birthday, we actually did a photo shoot, like, for his birthday, and we got, like, this nice cake, and we had, like, pictures with the bear with the cake, and we did, like, this whole photo shoot and everything, and it actually came out super cute, and I was so happy about it,
They are so cute. The
and
pictures are so cute, and I'll share
yeah,
them, and if you get a chance, go watch her birth story because they will be in that, slideshow,
yes.
so
When I got the pictures back, I felt happy, and, like, that's what I wanted. I was like, I feel like I'm honoring my son, and, like, this is my way of always, like, keeping his memory alive and keeping him a part of our life, and that's so important to me, and that's another reason why I'm so thankful that you are allowing me to share his story,
Oh, of course.
because
Yeah.
one of my biggest fears one of my biggest fears was, like, he's gonna be forgotten, like, no one's gonna remember him, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a general fear, like, of I don't he was here, like, he means something, even if he's not here anymore, and he made impacts on people's lives, and I just don't want that to be forgotten, and thank you so much for letting me, like, share his story, and, like, it's it's this is alone is helping me heal, and just listening to, like, other people's stories too has helped me heal in so many ways, and I'm just so thankful that you guys are doing this. It means so much to me, and I'm sure many, many other people.
Oh, you're welcome. And we've done this is a space where it's to honor our son too. So that's
Yes.
exactly the reason why, like you said, we did not want anybody to forget our son, just like you don't want to
Mhm.
forget your Owen and have anybody forget him, you know?
Yep.
So thanks for saying that. That's really kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of those fun things that you've done. I think that's so great. I like because we all have different ways of doing it, and I think getting more ideas sometimes is really nice to like. Oh, I want to do it that way. I think that's pretty neat. So this last year has been obviously really tough. I'm sure that after you had mentioned that after you had come home, you had an emergency C-section, which obviously is very hard on the body. And then
Yeah.
you're also mourning the loss of Owen. Thankfully, you didn't have to go back to work. Hashtag silver lining of COVID, right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
um, but how were those first couple of months? Was there anything that you guys did in those first that really raw, really terrible time? It's just so hard those first couple of months. Was there anything that you did to help, or was there anything that you really kind of stuck out to you during those first couple of months?
I feel like every day something popped up that was so difficult. I have not birthed another child, so this was, like, my first time. And I can remember, like, sitting on the couch, and, like, I started lactating, and I just did not even no one even, like, mentioned, like, that. Like, I didn't even, like, think, like, that was
None
I
of
don't know, it
nobody
just
told you? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's the worst.
nobody told me that, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, "Oh my," and I, like, oh, that was one of the roughest times, and honestly, I don't know what I would have done without my husband. He was grieving Owen also that at that time, but he still found it in him to take care of me every step of the way. Like, I mean, help me shower, because, like, I know a C-section, like, that's, painful, but I was still, like, in that shock stage, like, this happened, and I think I mentioned, like, before, like, I suffer from, like, anxiety and, like, depression already, like, before, like, any of this, so I, like, was frozen and numb and just so lost, and he picked me up when I was so down, and I still to this day, like, I don't know how he did it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he just did so, so much for me, and I'm just so thankful that, like, he he did everything. Like, he literally held me up physically, mentally, like, I'm thankful that this brought us closer together because I have heard, like, not such good stories, like, when couples don't make it through a tragedy like this, and I could see how that could happen because it's not easy and you need to work at it and you need to, like, communicate, and not saying that we're perfect ever because that's not true, but, like, I just have learned from those first couple of months, like, we needed each other and we were there for each other. And I know that sounds like cliche or kind of like lame or whatever, but honestly, because even with COVID, we weren't seeing people.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we weren't unsure. Like, everybody was so unsure of, like, this, like, thing, and people were afraid to see their family
Mhm.
and not going out places, and everybody was in quarantine, and I have amazing friends that reached out every single day and or would send flowers or send gifts and, like, cards and check in on me every single day, and I just learned that you just need to have people that you can lean on during those times. The people that understand, like, when you're angry, that's okay, like, that you're angry,
Yeah.
like,
Those are good friends when they know you're yeah.
and it was tough because my best friend of, like, 12 years, when I found out I was pregnant, she got pregnant. She was like, "Let's raise our babies together." She thankfully was fine, and her baby was born, like, and he is growing, and he's so perfect and adorable and amazing, and despite me losing my son, she is still always there for me, and in the fact of, like, what do you need from me? I don't wanna upset you. I wanna make sure that I'm the, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like communication and being able to, like, tell people what you need in the moment is so key, and is, like, what I found helpful between my relationship with my husband, my friends, my parents, and it's not always easy, trust me, because that's, like, one of the things I work on with my therapist all the time is, like, how to tell people what I need in the moment. But having those people that truly care and want to know how to help you, it's just I don't know what I would do without any of them. Like, I definitely have a very, very strong support system, and that is definitely what I learned in those first couple of months that you need
Yeah.
to have those people
Yeah, for
there.
sure. I wanna point out something that was you said that I was so, so good. Your best friend who had a baby the same time you did. I mean, right? She's pregnant the same time. You guys would have
She was, like, a month behind me.
yeah. So, the fact that she asked you specifically, "What do you need from me?" And, like, that just says a lot too, because some people can just kinda be like, "I gotta help you and do everything," but she was kinda waiting for your cue of, like, "I need you now," or "I don't need to see you right now." Because I personally think it would have been difficult, for me anyway, if I was kinda doing on that same track with a friend, and then I'm like, "I didn't have a baby, and now you're pregnant, and I don't wanna see you." Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, that would
Yeah.
have been hard, but the fact that she said, "Where do you need me to be? What do you need me to do?" I think
Yeah, or like, what do you need me to not complain about? Or what do you need me to she's just been amazing through it all, and she she still talks about Owen too, though. Like, 'cause, I mean, obviously, we had so many plans of what we wanted to do, like, she had a boy also,
Oh,
so it
really?
was like, we were gonna raise 2 boys together, and we've been best friends for years, so it was just so many plans, and now those plans were ripped away, but even as simple as, because if I post something, I always post like a or a blue heart
Mhm.
next to Owen. And the one day she even just like said to me, like, I just want you to know that, like, I hope you know when I post pictures of my son, I post a green heart because I associate the blue heart with Owen, and Owen is the blue heart, and I don't want to take that from Owen. Like, just like things like that. Like, that's just so thoughtful and
Yeah.
like amazing. And definitely need more people like that because
Yeah.
there's definitely, I mean, sometimes people try and help and they don't mean any harm by the things they say, but sometimes it can be painful. But again, there's no right or wrong thing to say. It's like it's such a heavy topic, and
Yeah.
I feel like as long as it's being talked about and people are being open and people don't have to feel ashamed of hiding anything, or just like with this bear, like I literally was almost feeling ashamed that I was going, like, I have like 5 outfits for this bear. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at first I was like, I'm crazy. Like, there's something wrong with me. Like, but then I'm like, you know what? It's helping me heal,
Yeah.
whatever.
I was
Like,
gonna say that's the nurturing part of you, right? I mean, that's you're trying to nurture something that is you
yeah.
can't, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool of your best friend. That is really your support system sounds amazing and
Yes.
sounds like you have had people surrounding you, which is awesome, especially in this weird time. Like we lost 2.5 years ago, and that was hard. But I can't imagine not having all of that physical support, like having people come to the hospital and visit us and meeting our son. So I'm glad your
Yeah.
parents got to meet Owen
Yes, definitely,
while,
because it was just 2 days after he was born that they quit having any visitors allowed at all.
yeah,
So,
that was
I'm
cool.
glad that my parents were at least able to be there
Yeah.
to meet him.
You mentioned that you have a therapist, and you apparently contacted this therapist at the hospital and didn't remember it. How has that been working through with the therapist? Like, is that something that has been helpful for you?
I think my therapist has helped me a lot. Sometimes I feel like it's just 45 minutes of me talking. And it's like that's like what I might need to like vent.
Yeah.
But she also allows us to do like a family session.
Mm,
So like Matt's allowed to join in sometimes like into the session. And I think that helps too. She's just helped me in such a way of understanding grief and understanding that it's not so clear cut, and it literally comes in waves. Like when people say grief like comes in waves, I like fully understand that concept now. It's like, you're like, "Oh, I'm okay." Yeah, and then it's like you see like a toy and like a baby toy, and it could be like whoosh, like you're drowning now, like, and it could come out of nowhere.
yeah.
Like, I've walked past that same toy for the past week and nothing like happened, but then who knows, grief can hit you at any point and at any time, and I feel like it's learning to ride those, like ride those, and I've learned the hard way to do that. I used to just build up in me, like, all my emotions, instead of, like, say if I was in the store and I was feeling sad, I would just, like, let it build up, and then, like, maybe later something happened and I was mad, and I would just keep it in. I would be tipped over of, like, my stress or whatever, and I would explode with anxiety and, like, anger and all these different emotions, and this past year, I've been really working on trying to ride that wave. Like, if I'm in the store and I'm feeling sad about something, I'm not gonna lie, I have cried in the middle of a store and whatever. And that's
Whatever.
another thing. It's like I've learned, like, whatever. Those people can judge me all they want, but there's no way to survive unless it's like you learn to, like, handle those feelings that you have in the moment.
Yeah. I like what you said, ride the wave, right?
Yeah,
Because the
you have to
grief,
be able to ride
yeah,
it.
because they do ebb and flow and they peak and they trough and yeah, there's going to be times when you are not just sad, but you could actually be happy and
Yeah,
have good memories and of your son or feel really sad. I think it's just really good emotional intelligence actually to do that. It's hard for a lot of people to ride the wave, like you
it
said.
is. It's definitely not easy, and obviously there's certain situations where you're not really going to be able to, like at work. If you're feeling a certain way, you might not necessarily be able to, like, ride that out at work. I'm extremely grateful because I work with, like, a small group of people,
Yeah.
and they all know everything that I've been through. So if I need a moment, if I'm, like, feeling some sort of way, I just say to them, like, "I need a moment." And they're like, "I got it. Go for a short walk, like, take a little break." And they allow me to do that, and I'm definitely very grateful for that because I don't know if everybody's job would be, you know what I mean? Like, if everybody's job could allow that to happen.
Right. And
But
also
I've
just the kind it sounds like they care about you to let you do that,
Yes.
you know?
Yes, definitely, and I'm very grateful for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lorianne, so I know that you mentioned this earlier of like, it's there's not really any one right thing or wrong thing to say in this situation. And I think I would agree with you on that because I think it just depends on the person, right? I mean, it's really tricky and also depending how you feel that day
Yeah.
or even in that minute.
100%.
Is there I'm wondering, but was there anything that somebody said to you that really impacted you or was helpful to you?
The one of the positive things would be, like, what my friend said to me, like, "What do you need in that moment?" Like, that would be, like, something I think would be a good thing to say to somebody,
Mhm.
especially because I know a lot of people don't mean harm, like, when they say certain things. But I think acknowledging, "I don't know what to say to you," or "I don't want to offend you," or "I don't really know how to say this." I think those things would be good to say to somebody instead of just spitting out like, "Oh, when's the next child coming?" or "Are you going to be trying again?" Or it's just being aware of someone's situation, like, if somebody got into a motorcycle accident, I don't think I would bombard them with, like, "When are you getting back on your bike?" Like, "Are you gonna get on it now?" Like, "What's taking you so long?" Like,
That's a really
uh
good way of putting it, actually. I've never thought of that before, but yeah.
Yeah, like, you, would probably or hopefully try and, like, I don't know if you really wanna talk about it or if you're ready to talk about it, but do you think you're gonna ride a motorcycle again? Like, it's just being aware of how you're gonna bring up a topic that might be a little hard to talk about,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it, like, gives that person a way to answer and a way of, "No, I don't wanna talk about that right now,"
Yeah.
or "Thank you for acknowledging that."
It could
But
be
I'm
difficult. Yeah,
okay,
okay.
or could be difficult, or whatever it might be.
And it's interesting because you mentioned before that you started to become very open about your fertility issues that you guys have had. And so if they read the situation like, gosh, maybe they're not ready, and so I'm not going to ask about that kind of thing. I know it is that like when are you going to have another one? That one is you're just like, hey, I'm still working on this one. I
Yeah.
I need to I need the time to process, right? So
Yeah. just with being open with fertility, like I think I was saying before, like I started being so open about it because I was so tired of feeling so down on myself when being asked, like, why don't you have kids yet? Where's your kids? You should have like four by now. Like, where are they? Like, why don't you have any? Like those types of things were I would just, like, laugh them off and like, "Ha yeah, yeah, we're getting there, well," but meanwhile, we're struggling to get pregnant, and it's not easy, and it's not a joke, and
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah.
Those things led me to be open about it, so people can maybe think a little differently when before they, like, start asking questions like that for people.
Yeah. Lee, my husband, is notorious for making people feel super uncomfortable when they ask ask him questions about if we're gonna have kids or whatever. He just makes them super uncomfortable because it is one of the it's kind of a personal question when you ask that. So because you don't know what people are going through. It's
Yeah,
you just never know what they're going through.
yeah.
So
That's funny that you said that because, like, somebody made some kind of comment about it was like a stranger, and they're like, "Oh, you guys are such a cute like married couple. Like, you gotta have kids by now." And I'm like, "Our son died," and my husband's like, "You can't just say that." I'm like, "Well, yes, I can. Our son died,
it's the truth.
and he asked. Like, that's the truth. It's not my fault that now he has no idea what to say. Like, so I might be a little bit too straightforward sometimes, but
It's fine. Well, it hopefully will make him that guy pause the next time he wants to ask like
yeah,
about that kind of
the
thing
guy will
to
probably
somebody
never
else.
ask.
Yeah, exactly. That is a little bit funny. It's the truth, right?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
it's totally the truth. I know that you had a photo shoot. You actually like had a special cake made for Owen's first
Yes.
birthday, which was just a couple of weeks ago. And I think that's awesome. Is there any
Yeah.
other kind of things that you guys have done for the holidays? Because I mean, you guys have basically been through an entire year of holidays. Did you do anything special or anything that you really like that you'd like to share with anybody that is maybe going through the same thing?
For Christmas, I actually made because like we hang stockings and we have two dogs. So we've always had like our Matt, Lorianne, Sadie, Ellie
Mm-hmm.
stockings. And, I was really looking forward to having Christmas, this year with Owen. I was super bummed about it, and then I'm like, I'm making him a stocking, and I did. I made him like this cute stocking, but I added angel wings
Oh.
to it.
Mm-hmm.
I did that like for his to keep his memory alive or to honor him again still. I feel like I'm still trying to find ways to honor him and to just continue to do that. And then again, like any holiday, we do just have the bear, and it sits in the special chair.
Yeah.
And for his birthday, we had the photo shoot, the birthday cake, and we had some family over, and it was a good time. I didn't want it to be sad. Like I wanted it to be where our family got together and everybody hung out. We actually sang happy birthday to him, so that was nice. Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to figure out a bunch of different things, but so far, those are the things that have helped us.
That's great. I think those are
Yeah.
great little traditions and things that you're trying to do to incorporate him.
Yeah.
Lorianne, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I actually do on this episode. I am wondering if you have any last advice or tips that you would give to a lost parent or even those who are supporting a lost parent.
Well, if you're a lost parent, my main advice would be do what's best for you. you need to take time for yourself as a lost parent. If you're not ready to go back to work, don't rush to go back to work, and don't let anyone try and pressure you and tell you that it's been 4 months, you need to go back. Like,
Mhm.
no. You'll know when you're ready to go back to work. Like, or don't put so many pictures up on the wall of them. They're not here anymore. Like, no, if you want to put those pictures on the wall, put the pictures on the wall. Like, people don't understand if they haven't been through it. Everybody grieves differently and everybody has different needs and wants, and just do what you want and what you need to do to help you move forward, not move on, because I hate that saying.
Yep.
We're not moving on.
Yep.
We are moving forward. And if you're like helping somebody that's grieving a child, be patient and understanding and listen, and don't ask, how are you? And expect good. I'm great. Or like, and if you're gonna ask, how are you, really mean it. Like, really wonder how somebody is feeling, and just be there for somebody for whatever they may need at any time. Because one day, one thing might be right, and then the next, it might be wrong. So,
Yeah.
communication is key.
Yes. We are fickle beings. So
Oh, yes.
that was some great advice for both parties. Lorianne,
Okay.
thank you so much. This has been an honor to talk to you and to hopefully honor Owen as well and his memory. And I thank you for your advice. Like it was great talking to you. It's just been
Yes,
delightful.
thank you so much.